Poul's Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing some homemade burgers. Today we're going to use lean ground pork. Yeah, normally you'd want to use a little bit of, something with a little bit of fat, but I'm going to stick with lean greens today. So it is what it is. So before we begin, please hit the like, share, subscribe button, and please visit us on our website, www.poulskitchen.net. So what we have here is a container of liquid smoke. My wife actually broke the actual container, so unfortunately it's in this. So if you heard me talk about this before, you have to be very careful with it. Don't just do a whole lot of it on there. Just use a spoonful, it will work fine. Here's our pork. We're going to put everything in this container. We're going to mix her up. I'm going to use a couple spoonfuls of chopped garlic, some Montreal steak spice, Worcestershire sauce, smoked paprika, and I'm going to use some panko Japanese style breadcrumbs. It's going to help keep things a little bit sturdy. I'm going to use one egg, and we're going to coat a lot of pepper on that thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to mix this up here really good, but once it's mixed, we're going to start making patties. Now, if it's a man doing this, I know guys, we have a tendency, we want to beat the living heck out of it. We don't want to do that. We want to make it nice and firm, but not so terrible firm. Make it into a patty, put a little dimple on the side of it, and I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to put them in this pan, and we're going to freeze them for at least 20 minutes. This will help firm them up. But again, we don't want to overbeat them because you don't want a really thick burger that's going to be really hard. You don't want something that your mother would make and it's just a technical burger. If you do this right, this will be a nice, juicy, and that's the key word, juicy. We don't want to beat the juice out. We want a nice, juicy burger. So mix your stuff in here. Mix your own spice to your liking. If you want to make it hot, you can make it hot as you want. This is to my friend Quofan Terre Haute. If you want to dice up and like really smooth, thin dice, jalapeno or whatever pepper you want, put that in the mix as well. It'll turn out good. Trust me, man, it will turn out good. So when we got the patties all done, I'm going to put them on the tray and we'll show you at that point. And then we're going to freeze them for at least 20 minutes. I'm probably going to freeze them for a couple hours. Not going to hurt. Alright, so these are our patties. They're all made. Now we got to stick them in. I'm going to put mine in the deep freeze. And like I said, at least 20 minutes. 30 minutes would probably be optimal. I'm going to leave this until about lunchtime when I'm ready to start cooking. And when we're done, I'm going to be using some onion and some sweet pepper. That's going to be my major toppings. Yeah, I'll have a little slice of cheese on there. I'm not going to use sliced cheese though. I'm going to use a cheese block and I'm going to cut it from that. But you see the patties have been beaten, but they're not so beaten that they're just really pounded to a pulp. We don't want a tough burger. We want it to be juicy. And you know what? If this breaks up, it's not the biggest deal in the world. We really don't want it to. But with the breadcrumbs and the egg, that should help out. And also freezing it for a little while will help make it a little bit more stable. So when it's all frozen and ready to cook, we'll come back. Welcome back. So it's been a couple hours for me. My patty is pretty hardened. It's frozen, which is good because it will make it stick a little bit better. So what I'm going to do here is, number one, I'm going to use beef broth. So beef broth, I'm going to store this in here. Where this is a concentrate, it's going to ask for 3 cups of water. I'm only going to use 2. What this is going to do, as it cooks in the broth, it's going to make it juicy and tender. In this, I'm going to fry up some green pepper and some onion, so it's a little bit caramelized, and we're going to use that to add on there. Now, I don't typically use buns. I'm being diabetic, it's not important to me, but by all means, use a potato bun. Toast it up a bit, it's good. I got 2 slices of cheese, and I've got some tomato. Now, once it's in there, I am going to put a little salt on it. Salt really does help it quite a bit, so it's not a bad thing. And then I'm going to put a little bit of pepper on it. when it's done, I'm going to spray some of this beautiful honeywood smoked barbecue sauce on there. And I'm going to put my onions and pepper, my cheese, and my tomato. And that's all I'm going to do. I don't feel I need to put ketchup or anything else on there. It'll be beautiful the way it is. And that's it. So cook it in here. Cook it in there with the beef broth. It's going to give it so much more flavor, and it will be so juicy and tender. When it's done cooking, I will put it on a plate and let it set for a couple minutes. Do not eat it right away. Don't mash it. When you mash it, what are you doing? You're taking the juice all over there. We as men, we like to put it on the open flame, and we like to push it down because it gets fire. Don't do that. That's bad. Because you're taking all the juice and all the good juice out of that, and it's not going to be as tender. So let it cook. When you're done cooking it, let it set for a couple minutes, the same way you would with steak. Let it just calm down, just take a break. And when it's done, you're good. Just leave it be. After a few minutes, plate it up, put it on your bun, put your condiments on. Personally, I feel like just a little barbecue sauce should be good enough. You don't need much more than that. Now, when you're dealing with broth, now be careful how much salt you do put on. This is, it's not a bad one. There are worse, but there are certainly better. If you're using broth, don't put a lot of salt on. If you're not using broth, then by all means, put salt on it. It will bring the flavor out. It makes it better. It makes it juicier. Just don't kill yourself with it. I mean, if you've already eaten a lot of salt for the day, then please don't do it. It's not worth it. But when I'm done, and you see this beautiful patty on my plate, ready to be served, it's going to be great. I would typically serve this with sweet potato fries. Personally, I think it's going to be great. So we'll see you in a few minutes, and we'll be ready. Alright, welcome back. So as we see here, the broth is actually cooked down quite a bit, but it's cooking out pretty good. We want to make sure this is fully cooked because where this is pork and not beef, I kind of feel like it's going to be a little bit more serious and needs to do that. So where I'm boiling this in broth, it's a little bit different, so I'm probably going to cut it up, and that's one of the reasons I also don't want a bun either. So eventually I'm going to cut it just to make sure it's fully cooked. Now when we look over here to our peppers and onions, Terre Haute, this is a Canadian tradition, my friend. My brother, we on our weekends off, we like to barbecue, we like to cook, and one of the favorite things we like is our burgers. Now when you're dealing with McDonald's, they like to add a lot of sugar to their stuff, so I mean it's not real beef by any means, and they do a lot of cheats to make their stuff taste the way it does. This isn't going to taste as sweet, however our peppers and onion will help with that, and having a really nice barbecue sauce that we're going to pour on it after is going to it's going to kill it, it's going to make it great. So Taro, this is a big piece of Canadian culture. Everybody's going to cook their burgers a little differently. This time I'm doing it with broth, and I'm telling you, man, it's going to be so juicy. If you took this out and put it in a bun and ate it, it's just going to be mouth-watering. We'll be back very soon. Welcome back. So we're finished. We can take a nice little look here and we can see the burger looks extremely juicy, and every time I cook it with broth it just comes out tender, juicy, amazing. We will let it sit for a few minutes with some cheese on top of it. I got the tomatoes there, and I'm going to garnish around it with the peppers and onion. So one thing I would really recommend is, make sure you cut up everything good enough so that it can go right on top in your bun, not make too much of a mess. But it's a burger, who cares if you make a mess? Maybe your wife might, maybe your husband. Don't get too hard on the kids, guys. Burgers are supposed to be fun eating. But please hit the like, share, subscribe button. Check us out on our Patreon. Again, all our money that we're making out of this right now is being donated to our friend's family as he passed away, so we do appreciate the help. So thanks for coming to Paul's Kitchen today, and see you next time.